chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He also sits on the Appropriations, Foreign Relations, and Budget Committees. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So lay out the next couple of days. Why will the vote to acquit the president be on Wednesday? Why not tomorrow?
Well, Democrats have the ability to drag out the trial. There was an agreement reached to do it Wednesday at 4. Allow some Democratic candidates to go to Iowa. I think that had a lot to do with it. But we're going to turn the page on impeachment at 4 o'clock Wednesday. All Republicans will vote not guilty. I think we'll pick up a handful of Democrats. I'm glad this trial is coming to end. It's the closest I ever want to be to being in purgatory, so it's been painful. It's going to end, and we're going to turn the page and deal with the issues important to the American people. And the day of reckoning is coming for congressional and Senate oversight of Joe Biden and the FISA warrant process.
All right, I want to talk about Joe Biden and the FISA process because you're in a position to really get these people down to speak. But first, let's talk a moment on impeachment. Right. This goes all the way back to when the president was first elected, and then in about a year ago, back in January of 2018, Congresswoman Tlaib, what she said. Let's take a look at what she said more than a year ago.
When your son looks at you and says, "Mama, look, you won," bullies don't win. And I said, baby, they don't, because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach them.
Senator, they have wanted to impeach this president now for 3 years. We heard it from Congresswoman Tlaib. This is not going to end, is it?
It will only end when the American people re-elect Donald Trump in November and fire Nancy Pelosi and Tlaib from being in charge of the House. If you want to exonerate the president, American people, and you want to deter future impeachments like this, make sure President Trump gets reelected, and let's fire Nancy Pelosi. And what happened to the Nancy Pelosi that was thoughtful, prayerful, said impeachment could only be done bipartisan? Tlaib and these people took over the Democratic Party, and Chuck Schumer is having AOC breathing down his neck in terms of a Democratic primary. Chuck Schumer is scared to death to lose his job to AOC, and that's why this debacle continued in the Senate.
And Schumer this morning signaling that the Democrats will not accept an acquittal as legitimate. Nancy Pelosi hinting that she's going to call Bolton in the House, John Bolton. What's the Dems' next move? And how are you going to get anything done, Senator, if you've actually got the other side constantly pushing to find out dirt on Donald Trump?
Well, the president's been successful in spite of all of this. I hope we could turn the page as a nation and focus on issues important. But as Nancy Pelosi calls Bolton, here's what I would say. They're impeaching the president for a suspension of aid that was eventually received, trying to leverage an investigation that never happened. This is ridiculous. Mueller broke their heart. They won't let it go. They hate this man. Pelosi is no longer Speaker of the House, just in name only. I don't know if they'll ever let it go, but here's what I'm going to do. As they talk to Bolton, I'm going to bring in State Department officials and ask them, why didn't you do something about the obvious conflict of interest Joe Biden had? Joe Biden's effort to combat corruption in the Ukraine became a joke. When Joe Biden got before the Ukrainian parliament talking about sweetheart deals in reforming the energy sector, I can only imagine how they were laughing under their breath. What about your son, Vice President Biden, sitting on the most corrupt board in Ukraine, Burisma, receiving $3 million? I can only imagine if a Republican had done what Biden had done. But we're going to get to the bottom of this, and I can prove beyond any doubt that Joe Biden's effort in the Ukraine to root out corruption was undercut because he let his son sit on the board of the most corrupt company in the Ukraine, and we're not going to give him a pass on that.
So how you're not going to give him a pass? How are you going to get to the bottom of it? Should we expect your committee to call to testify Hunter Biden, the whistleblower, Adam Schiff, all of those names you've been talking about?